today with beautiful examples and I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Jamie asked me earlier what was I going to talk about, and I already gave my sermon to her. So let me just ask you, did you enjoy the snow? Did you have fun with it? Yeah, it was nice to not need to drive in it, and my heart goes out to those of you who did need to drive in it. And I did not. I was very grateful. I liked Barry's little picture that he put on Facebook of the bread and the milk. Because we know here in Alabama it doesn't snow often, so when it does, there's a run in the grocery stores on bread and milk and batteries. I didn't need any of those. Anyone lose power? Not in here. Yay, praise. Yes, that's good. Right, wonderful. So we didn't lose power, and so it was nice and warm. And the biggest challenge I had, this is definitely a first world problem, was taking Tinkerbell out for the necessary trips and not having trips. So walking on the ice. A few years ago, remember we're referring to it now as Snowmageddon. Remember that? Was it 2014? Whenever it was. This is about peace today, okay, y'all? Whenever it was. I got stuck in my car, as many of you know. I spent the night on I-20, and I experienced a little post-traumatic stress after that. I didn't drive for a little while. But I also stocked my car with a survival kit. And one of my friends, I was working for the government at the time, and one of my friends there was stocking everybody's cars with everything she'd find. She'd buy 5 of them and hand them out. Look what I found, and hand them all out. Well, one of the things that she gave me were these cool little grippers that go, there's just like an elastic band with like golf shoe things on the bottom that grip. So it's an elastic band put over the toe of my shoes. Serendipitously, I actually found them last week before I knew there was a forecast for snow. And I thought, oh, that's where I put them. So then when I needed to walk out on the ice, I knew right where they were. Slipped those little things on. We were nice and safe. Tinkerbell's feet were frozen, but mine were cozy. We came into the heat. And it was peaceful, wasn't it? Is there something peaceful about snow when it covers everything and everything's all beautiful and crystal white? Even the sounds are muffled a little bit. Any of you who've lived in places or spent time in places where there's a good deal of snow, you know what I mean, where the sounds are kind of muffled. And that's not, for me, that's not what peace is about. As I was driving in this morning, I asked myself, what am I going to talk about? Because I was just no longer satisfied with this. And Spirit was saying, or ego was saying, sometimes I can't tell the difference. That's not it. And then just as the light turned green at the intersection of Valley and the Green Springs, the light turned green for me, and someone turned left right in front of me. Now, what's the purpose of that thing on our car that we hit, that horn? What's the purpose of that? The purpose is to alert other drivers to danger, right? To alert, back in the day, it was early text messaging. Remember? We pull up outside someone's house and beep the horn before. So, but the purpose of that, today I discovered that I've been using the horn for something that it wasn't intended for. I've been using it as an editing device. So if you violate the laws, the traffic laws, according to Terry, then I'll let you know about it. But I've decided that that was a gift for me. It gave me an insight into another layer of how I really like to control my environment and how impossible that is. Because no one, hardly anyone, I'll say, follows the traffic rules according to Terry. They haven't even published those. So how would anyone know? So I had this nice talk all lined out. I was going to start off by telling you a story about a little boy who grew up in a country church, and he was accustomed to experiencing the Lord's Supper periodically, and they just referred to what they shared as the bread and the juice. And then his grandma took him to a church in another city where they referred to it as communion, and then the pastor was talking about the elements. And the little boy got really excited when he heard that the elements were going to be passed among them. And he got really excited with his grandma. And his grandma said, "What is it? What is it?" He said, "Elephants are going to be passing among us." I'm not going to tell you that story, though. So I had another example I was going to talk about peace like a river. And I had all this supporting material about the Grand Canyon and how peace like a river has created this beautiful, majestic thing. It took, they say, 6 million years to do this, but I watch Ancient Aliens. Did it really? Or we all been hypnotized to believe that that's what happened? It was really done by spaceships. I don't know. I wasn't there. Or was I? I don't know. I don't know. And I had another example, an example of peace like a river, an example of the great Mississippi and the Missouri and how they overflow their banks and they recreate life for so many people. An example of strength and resourcefulness and peace. Peace like a river, but I'm not going to tell you about that either. And then I had another example about how we've harnessed rivers' powers, peace like a river, and we're generating electricity within an early years they created a mill with a millstone and another stone and I'm not an engineer. I can't even figure out a mill. I looked at the picture. I still don't get it. But they ground wheat to make bread, that Barry had for his family. The bread, I don't think it's done like that anymore, but I don't know, and I'm not going to tell you about that either. I had an example about Dr. King and about how he created, he had a dream, and it was all about peaceful non-resistance, about being peaceful, and that how he had modeled that, how he told us that he had modeled that after Gandhi's gentleness, and how peace is gentle and peace is strong, but I'm not going to tell you that. And I also had a quotation from the Bhagavad Gita, which is an ancient Hindu scripture that reads, "Express harmoniously and lovingly, and don't be attached to the fruits of your labors." I will tell you that. For what I'm realizing is that being attached to the fruits of my labors, that's what creates things that look like other than peace for me. Being attached. And I also want to say that that's okay. Because within the attachment, when I get to notice that someone is violating the traffic laws, when I get to notice that people aren't behaving in a way that I think is harmonious and loving. Now, you see how I got all stressful about, now, is that a way to express harmony? Harmony. Let's have harmony. Kind of like parents who shout, "No yelling in the house. Don't run. Don't slam the door." We parents of the 70s, we learned to express it in a more positive way. Close the door gently. Use your inside voice. We learned it so well that now they're making parodies of all that in the movies. But here's how Jesus said it. Oh, there's my visual aid. I forgot all about that. All right, maybe later. Here's what Jesus said from the Gospel according to John. And I have to tell you that I couldn't remember where this was this morning. I knew it was there somewhere, and I knew that I had lived my life about this in some ways. And when I resigned my work with the Air Force in the 80s, because I was singing "Let There Be Peace on Earth" on Sundays and then going back to work on Monday morning, participating in designing advanced weapon systems and I felt out of alignment, I didn't take to heart the second part of that, which is let it begin with me. I thought let it begin with me means I have to quit my job. But let it begin with me means let it begin in my heart, not in the outer. If it takes the outer, that's okay. Because we all have different experiences of what peace looked like. For me, in the 80s, peace looked like walking away from a really good job. For me, for Reverend Charles today, in 2017, it looks like maintaining a peaceful presence in the Middle East. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. It's all about our experience. We are here on this planet in these three-dimensional forms to experience life, and all life has to share with us. And here's what Jesus said about it. From the Gospel according to John, peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Do not let them be afraid. So what does that mean? I give you peace, but not as the world gives. So for me, what that means is what looks like peace and what's the opposite of peace? Well, I guess the extreme is war, but also in my daily life, struggle, suffering, worry, and anything that I'm struggling with, anything that I'm suffering about, anything that I'm worried about, I've attracted these experiences into my life for a reason. They're in my life so that I can learn from them. They bring with them gifts. As we affirmed earlier in our opening affirmation, the gifts that these things bring to me are gifts of strength, gifts of awareness, and the opportunity to be gentle with myself, to let go of judging myself, because let's face it, I'm not a perfect driver either. Let's talk to the body shop in Pell City about my history there. Not a perfect driver either, so maybe that's the reason why I think I need to enforce my rules on other people, is because that way I get to see it. That way I get to understand that there's much room for improvement in me. For example, my sister gave me a gift. She gave each of us one. I think you've heard me say before, there are 4 of us. I'm the eldest. I know you can't tell. God made us sisters. Prozac made us friends. It does not mean that we are all on drugs. Not all of us. Well, what it does mean is that it's been a process. Just like it's a process with any peaceful experience, any experience leading to peace, it's a process. We may start out struggling. 4 women now, 4 girls sharing one bathroom, struggling and trying to impose our sense of who we were and are on each other. Then we became mothers with completely different. 4 women, you're going to have 4 parenting styles at least, because when I was raising our son, I used several different styles. Let's try this one for a while, try that one for a while. I remember what Joan mentioned to us once before. Is it all right if I share it, Joan? She said that she and her children often laugh about, let's talk about the ways that the things that our mother used on us that didn't work. I probably didn't paraphrase that exactly right, but we could do that with my experience with our son Martin. Okay, that's not working. Let's try something else. So that's what we do, don't we? If I'm not experiencing peace right now, okay, that's not working. Let's try something else. It doesn't have to be Prozac. But what happened with my sisters was that we all decided that what was getting in our way of being friends with each other were expectations. We had expectations of each other to behave the way we behave. And we decided to let go of that and to just play. So when we get together, this coming Saturday is an exception because everybody will be bringing children and grandchildren, and it will be an interesting time. That's a useful word, interesting. It'll be an interesting time. Well, what I came up with Prozac was patience. P for patience. We have patience with each other, and we just focus on having fun. Reality. This is how it is, okay? Let's stop expecting each other to be different than how it is. What is our objective? What is our purpose? When we get together, what is our purpose? Our purpose is to have fun. Zeal. There is a lot of enthusiasm among the Price girls. Acceptance. We accept each other right where we are. Well, we make an effort in that direction. It doesn't always work out that way. And compassion. Because we have compassion for each other. So God made us sisters. Prozac made us friends. Thank you. So what I want to leave you with today is that the seed for peace is contained within the experience of chaos. The seed for peace is contained within an experience of struggle. The seed for peace is contained within the appearance of upset. And the seeds come in the form of awareness. I see how I was behaving and what I was expecting, and I've changed my mind. It comes in the form of strength. I have the strength to rise above this situation and to learn a lesson and to move on in a higher expression of who I am. And it comes in gentleness. Be gentle with myself. Be not attached to the fruits of my labor. To just behave in ways of harmony and love. So I want to close this morning in repeating our affirmation. If I can get Barry and Kevin to cooperate with me. The affirmation that we began with this morning was to reinforce the idea of peace for Advent. Well, I have it right here. We can just break it down slowly. So you will affirm with me, today I choose peace. Peace of mind and peace of heart. I choose gentleness, compassion, and strength. It's all right, Barry, we're fine. Aware that inner peace creates world peace. Oh, that inner peace creates world peace. See, and inner thoughts create. Right. I move through this Advent season supported by faith. I move through this Advent season supported by faith and strengthened by peace. And strengthened by peace. Awareness, strength, gentleness. Let peace begin with me. Amen.